Let's talk about Bill Gates and the next pandemic. Bill Gates and the World Health Organization have announced when we will see the next pandemic, and they have a date for us. So get this on your calendar. Prepare, plan your trips around this next pandemic right now. We'll have more on that in a second and the dates. But you'll remember Bill Gates and the World Health Organization previously held what was known as the 2001 Event 201. And it was about the Event 201 exercise. It was a simulation involving a coordinated global response to a coronavirus that they held in a simulation just months before COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic. So they're pretty good at predicting this stuff. I don't know how they pull this off.
Fauci, remember, Fauci told Trump in 2017, not that there could be, not that there might be, but there would be a pandemic during his presidency.
Yes.
Yeah, and Obama ran exercises for it during his pregnancy.
During his pregnancy.
During his presidency, too.
At the womb factory.
So they've just gotten together and they're doing it again now. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, along with Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security and the World Health Organization. I wish I was making this up, but this is not a conspiracy theory. They did this. And they just conducted their next pandemic tabletop exercise in Belgium. It's called the Catastrophic Contagion. Hey, honey, where are you going this weekend? I'm going to Belgium. I got a conference. Oh, yeah, what's it about? It's called the Catastrophic Contagion event. Oh, what are you guys going to be doing? Oh, we're just planning the next pandemic. Just getting everything ready. Getting everything ready and locked up, and the new virus and vaccines. We'll have vaccines ready to go because that's how we do this. We plan it, and then we, of course, have the vaccines ready to go. So this is the video that Bill Gates put together along with the team, complete with simulated news reports like this. This is really what they're preparing for us. This video is called Get Ready. Watch.
Officials in 2 Latin American countries alerted the WHO of several outbreaks of a new infectious disease that's mysteriously appearing across the region. Severe Epidemic Enterovirus Respiratory Syndrome 2025. Over the past 6 weeks alone, there have been 500 confirmed or suspected cases reported. The virus could cause a severe pandemic if early containment and mitigation efforts are not successful.
The pandemic in this type of situation and trend would be a risk for the global health security.
Pandemics are inherently political, financial, and so much broader.
We have not spoken on the leadership in country. And I think that we need to be also very careful. We cannot decide a lot of things without the leaders be involved and agree on that.
There is no substitute for national leadership.
It's important to support the local response or the national response.
Training those that are in these areas first, enabling them with the tools, protecting them, and if needs be, regional solidarity first.
At this stage, communication is key, and communication should include not just scientists with data, but also social, religious, and political leaders.
Trust. This is an essential issue, and trust was broken among countries, between populations and healthcare systems, between healthcare systems and governments.
I'm very sorry to say that in 2025, we need to strengthen the health system.
WHO needs to be a voice for the voiceless.
No one is safe until all of us are safe.
As of today, there have been an estimated 1 billion cases worldwide, with more than 20 million deaths, including nearly 15 million children. Countless millions are alive, but left with paralysis or brain damage. The most successful countries are those which invested in preparedness and trained for this moment years in advance. This included having full-time pandemic preparedness and response teams, which conducted detailed operational planning and routinely tested those plans through exercises and drills. If more countries had participated and heeded the guidance, the toll might have been much less.
And welcome to our exclusive interview with Bill Gates, the entrepreneur, Microsoft co-founder, software developer, and philanthropist. Thanks for being here.
Great to talk to you.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's annual letter has now just come out. You both write about how this pandemic, in your view, will be as defining as World War II. What are the key steps to take right now?
You can tell that this journalist is a paid journalist. Just listen to the questions that he's asking Bill. Now, if I was to ask Bill some questions, I would ask him, as a technician, as a computer tech, where do you get your information from? And how is it that scientists don't first come out with these information and you do?
Well, we have to do two things at once. We have to bring this epidemic to an end, primarily by getting the vaccine out in large numbers to the entire world. And we have to make sure that we're ready because there will be another pandemic. And there's so many lessons about how we weren't prepared, how we should have handled things differently. And, you know, when that's clearly in our mind, those investments need to be made.
You mentioned being ready for the next time. And you warned about this last time. Let's take a brief look at a 2015 warning you issued.
If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus.
So guys, something as common as the weather. No one can accurately predict the weather, right? But a computer guy is able to predict the disease that's coming, the symptoms, the side effects, and also he has an idea
if we
of how to cure it. Guys,
we can be ready for the next
this is crazy.
How ready was the world for this, say on a scale of 1 to 10, and how about the U.S.?
The U.S. gets a low score because the understanding of how to get diagnostics up to scale early to stop the exponential spread. You know, if that had been done well, we would have been more like an Australia or a South Korea, where the death toll is less than a tenth of the tragic situation in the United States. So we made mistakes before the epidemic in not investing more. And then during the epidemic, we also made mistakes. There's one category we did well, which was getting R&D money out to the vaccine companies. The U.S. was the biggest at that. And so at least, you know, in that one area where we've set a model for the world.
You're very specific in your work and the letter about what should come next. You talk about a global alert system, infectious disease first responders, and germ games. Walk us through what some of that looks like and whether you think international organizations and the Biden administration can do more on that now.
Well, the great thing is that the tens of billions required for all that preparedness, it's the insurance policy that avoids you losing tens of trillions like we are globally right now. And so it's quite a bargain, even if you only look at what it can do to help during a pandemic. But those investments can also help us improve health on a much broader basis. So the mRNA vaccine can be used for TB and HIV. You know, we're very excited about that, and we've been funding mRNA for over 10 years, and now it's, you know, accelerated its development. And getting those early warning systems in, that'll improve health all over the world. So this time, I think people will pay attention.
Your letter also goes really through a whole bunch of influences, from the movie Contagion to Winston Churchill to you and your wife's interest in confronting systemic racism and structural racism. And you write that pandemics, quote, exploit pre-existing inequalities. And you're working and doing funding with historically black colleges on testing. Walk us through, what does this mean? Why does it happen this way? Does it have to be this way? And how do you fix it?
Well, it's pretty stunning that the infection rate and death rate in minorities has been over twice as high. And that really wouldn't have been expected. In fact, we need to understand it a lot better. You know, it's partly multi-generational households. It's partly job occupation. You know, it may have been the ability to communicate health messages in to those households. I'm stunned at that. Sadly, I'm not stunned with the idea that the inner city schools were the least prepared with internet connections and training in order to do online education. And so the gap between the suburban schools and the inner city schools, which was already very large and a terrible inequity, it's been more dramatic in this last year than ever. And so we've got to reinvest in those schools.
Accepting
some
help
of the good
or
things we've learned
favors
about how we
from
can
the
use
darker
online
side
tools,
can be perilous,
but helping those
as
kids
it
catch
often
up.
comes with a hidden cost and moral compromise. Many Commonwealth leaders, even from the Caribbean, fall victim to these so-called philanthropists who comes with hidden agenda. Such assistance may initially seem to be beneficial to improving health, wealth, providing power, or resolution to pressing problems. However, it typically entails a binding agreement or obligation that can lead to manipulation, loss of autonomy, or moral decay. Those who accept those help or such help find themselves drawn into a web of deceit and negativity, ultimately facing severe consequences that affects not only themselves, but also those around them. The allure of immediate gain can blind individuals to the long-term ramification, making it crucial to tread carefully when dealing with these ambiguous figures or morally questionable source of support. But I want you guys to remember this, that after the piper plays, you have to pay the piper. You will have to pay the piper. My viewers and subscribers, I wish that this was a joke or a conspiracy theory. Because before the 2019 pandemic, there was a movie that came out, I think about 2011, that's called Contagion. And everything that was depicted in that movie happened when COVID-19 was released. And when people start talking about it, oh, this talk about conspiracy and conspiracy and conspiracy and everything like that. But guys, it's happening again. It seems like more people need to be, what I would say, unalive in 25. Anyway, guys, listen, I don't know how these guys do it. I don't know how they get away with it. But listen, take care of yourself and just be good to each other. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.
What do you say to people who look at this and feel like scientists, experts, and you warned and gave the public information, and by your own assessment today, it still didn't go very well according to the government policies in charge, and you're out here still working on it? What do you say to people who are pessimistic about either failure or incompetence and lies winning out?
Well, whenever you make mistakes, you have to learn from them. And the U.S. has so much talent, so much ability to get things right, so much ability to lead the world and help. You know, almost every infectious disease event of the last 100 years, the U.S. Played a very strong role. The CDC is the most respected health organization. In this one, we didn't set a good example, and we even withdrew from the WHO. So, it wasn't our finest hour, but I remain optimistic, and I look at the new team that's engaged, looking at the science, being willing to deliver the bad news that the next few months are going to continue to be tough. And, I feel great that we're correcting some of the mistakes that were made.
You mentioned the new team. Was President Biden right to rejoin the WHO? And have you spoken to him recently, or will you?
I spoke to him, Melinda and I, soon after the election, and the pandemic was definitely one of the key topics there.